Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about rain. So, rain is such a weird topic, but what made me want to talk about rain is earlier today, as I was heading into the office. Of course, if you watched the previous videos, you know that the pearls is about church or going in the office. So, that's the only time I usually wear pearls. You might see me on an off day, and I might have pearls on for whatever reason, but usually the pearls insinuates I'm going into the office or I'm at church. And so and so as I'm going into the office, I'm listening to this sermon and the pastor starts to talk about how he did like a Try Me series, and he said that sometimes he can't wait for the rain. And it's so funny because I was like, earlier today, I wasn't sure if God was going to, put it on my heart to do a video or not or whatever else. And I try not to do one if God doesn't say to do one. And sometimes God would just say, just be real. Just say whatever is on your heart. And I'll say some stuff and it'll help me. And hopefully it helps someone else as well, but it'll help me. And I'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't know I had all of that to say. Or like, I'll get on here and I'm like, I have absolutely nothing to say. I don't know what I'm going to say today. And then God's just like, it just flows. And those are like the most popular ones for some reason. I guess it's because like really I have no idea what it's going to be. Like I know there's a thing like every day that I learn something that really does penetrate my heart. It really does make me think about certain things. It's one of those things that gives me a revelation. Usually almost every day I get one. And so today the thing that was like placed on my heart was rain. And it's so funny because it wasn't just one sermon. The next sermon after that talked about rain as well. Well, it talked about being planted. One talked about being planted, and then the other one talked about graduating. And both of them had something about, just what the rain does or what the storm does, and then being planted. And so, and graduating in spirituality. And so it was funny because I was like, okay, it's going to be about rain. Then the next sermon, it was like rain. I was like, oh, okay, well, and the whole sermon wasn't about rain. They were different topics, but both of them, rain stood out to me. And it stood out because both of the pastors said something like, during this season, you might not know where you're headed, but God is trying to take you there step by step. And sometimes we want to get things prematurely. We want to rush through. We want to already know what the next step is, but God is still breaking things off of us. He's still watering us. We are still in seed form, as the pastor would say. And so while we're in seed form, we can't just be a flower already. We can't already be a tree. We have to be willing to grow through whatever it is that we're going through. We have to be able to use those things as growing pains. We have to be able to use those things to make us better, to take us to another level, to allow us to learn in each season so that when we go to the next one, we don't have to be that person that we used to be. And it's so funny because the pastor even said something that I say sometimes as well. He said that sometimes we have to get rid of that jealousy, insecurity, whatever those traits are, those negative traits, but he listed a few other things. But I always say whatever those negative traits are, God has to get rid of them in the waiting season. He has to get rid of them in preparation for the next level. And he can't take us there if we're still jealous. He can't take us there if we're still envious or insecure or whatever other negative characteristic trait it is that we are still harboring in our hearts or in our mind or in our soul or our body. And so I always say too that hate and love can't live in the same place. I know some of y'all might be thinking about a movie. It's a thin line between both. I understand, and it's because people get compassionate. But I think we sometimes think of toxicity as the example instead of knowing what a healthy example looks like. And so in order to be in a healthy relationship, and I'm not saying that people are perfect and they're going to always do everything right. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying it like I'm a relationship expert or anything like that, but I truly believe in healthy relationships, healthy kingdom relationships. That's like my goal. That's what I aspire to have. And this is what it's going to look like to me. This is not like just because I'm speaking on it and I'm telling you what my perspective is, doesn't mean that this is the only example. This is what everything should look like. This is what I would desire for it to look like. But God might have other plans. And so when I say things, it's just from my point of view. It's not because this is everyone's point of view. This is what it's gonna look like across the board. This is just me giving you like a little median, in between what you want and what you don't want, you know? And so you might not know what your baseline is. This might be your baseline. And then whatever else it is that you want or that God needs for you to have in your life is what you will have in your life. But for me, this is just me speaking my opinion. So I just want to make sure I clarify that, because sometimes when you're on these videos, some people say, oh, I want to do things exactly that way. But you don't know what my struggle is. You don't know the things that I go through. Like, you might see me on here, and it's so funny. I'm only jumping topics because it's relevant. And so it's relevant. I don't know why I wanted to say whatever I just said, but I'm probably not going to edit that out. And so it'll be there and people will judge me, but it's fine. And so the thing that's funny is that I really just lose my train of thought that fast. This happens all the time, and it's late. So I've been going since right now. It's been probably about, it's been a long time. Let's just say it's been a long time. It's been like 18 hours that I've been going. And so I probably need to get some rest soon. And and it's so funny because what I'm probably not gonna remember what it is. Maybe it'll come back around if it's something that people need to know. Oh, I know what it was. So the funny thing is, the pastor earlier was preaching and he was talking about maybe you would find the spouse that you want or that you desire to have in your life if instead of you praying, God, send me a man, send me this person, maybe you pray, and this is just what the pastor said, and this is what I pray too, which is weird because I didn't pray this because some pastor told me or because someone else said something. I prayed it because that's what I felt in my soul. Like, with my relationship with God, this is what I knew is what I desire, because it's like I don't see it any other way. In my mind, this is what makes sense. And so the pastor said, instead of praying, God, send me this man, send me this woman, you could pray, God, send me. And I don't think he said at the appointed time. He said, send me the relationship that will be an example for the kingdom. And he didn't use it kingdom. He said it would be an example for what God intended a healthy relationship to look like, or something like that. But that's exactly what I pray, except for I add at an appointed time, at the appointed time that you want it to happen, and not a second more. I mean, not a second sooner. That's what my prayer is. I literally pray those exact words when I think about praying for a potential person. And when I think about praying for a partner, let me say it like that. I got to stop saying potential. And I literally just say, God, because I don't say, God, send me a man, because I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know when God's going to say that I'm ready. I don't know what other negative attributes or characteristic traits that I still am harboring in my soul that I haven't released. And even when I thought I was ready, like, I don't know how long ago it's been now, like 8-9 months, however long it's been, who knows. But all that time ago, when I thought I was ready, I still was holding on to some codependency. And I wasn't codependent with people because I wasn't dating anybody. I was just codependent. And when I say codependent, I mean when you are in a relationship and it's more like, instead of you being your own independent person and becoming interdependent, you rely on that person heavily. And it doesn't have to just be like a clingy thing. It could be like both of you have something toxic and you just kind of lean into each other, and it's not a healthy thing. That's what I think of as codependent. And I know some people probably were thinking I meant, oh, super clingy, never wants to go anywhere without the person, being attached at the hip. It could mean that as well for some other people. And so whenever I do my prayer, I really Like legit, it's so funny that the pastor said that because I was like, I didn't even know that was the right thing to do. I just felt it in my spirit. I felt it like when I was talking to God, because I try to do this thing, and you could take it if you want to, because God would appreciate it. But what I do is in the morning when I get up, I do a grateful, thankful thing. Sometimes I do devotionals or whatever else, and I will go through and I'll tell God everything I'm thankful for. And it's not just a long, huge list. It's the gist of things. And then anything that I can think of right off in my mind is what I say to God that I'm thankful for. It'll be breathing, speaking, talking, tasting, smelling, it could be having limbs. It could be the blood flowing in my veins, the functionality of the limbs on my body, the house, the car, and although those are material objects, that's what I say as well. Although these are material objects, I still thank you for them because the car gets me from point A to point B. The house allows me to have a place to live, a shelter. The food, even if it's not the food that I want, it's allowing me to be able to maintain this body. It's allowing me to stay healthy or whatever else it is. And I just go through and I list everything I can think of in my mind right at that moment. Think, for my family, whatever else. So you get the gist. So I go through this long list of things, and then I thank God for everything. Then usually I do like some kind of affirmation thing and I always have to do a disclaimer, but the affirmation is me calling on God and asking for his power so that those could be the things that I am, because God is the great I am. So when I say I am beautiful, it's because God made me beautifully and wonderfully made. When I say I am intelligent, it's because the wisdom of the Bible allows me to be wise, not because I want to be, I'd rather be wise in the world and a fool with God so that God can guide me. But when I say wisdom, I mean wise beyond my years. I want to have wisdom so that I can see the things that God intends for me to see in this life, not just so that I could be smarter than somebody else, smarter than anyone else. I just want to make sure that I am being whatever it is that God needs me to be so I can be the best version of myself every day. And so, like, I really try to set intentionality first thing in the morning because that's how you direct your path for the rest of your day. And if you wake up, every day that I wake up and I'm thanking God is a better day than the day that I skip or try to act like I can do things on my own because I'm only here because of God. And so, first thing in the morning, that's what I do. And then at night, I do this thing where I talk to God and I will tell him about the day. I know it sounds like a little ridiculous for some people, but I really do. I'll be like, every night I take a shower because I try to do like 2 showers a day. I know some people are going to think it's excessive, but I like to do it because before I get in the bed, it allows me to feel like, okay, all of the oils and stuff on my body is not getting all over the sheets. Like, yes, I do, moisturize and everything before I go to bed. That's neither here nor there. But but still, any of the things throughout the day that have gotten on my skin or whatever else are usually washed off. And so when I go to bed, I do sheets and stuff once a week. So every week I throw the sheets in the washer and I do like the whole baking soda with the sometimes I do peppermint oil, sometimes I do like rose rose water or whatever other fragrance it is, or lemon or orange or whatever. And I do trying to think of what else I usually put on there. I feel like there's something else I'm missing. I know for sure it's baking powder, baking soda. And so anyways, I do that. And at night, I tell God about my day. I tell him the things that, went good, the things that went bad. I know he was there for all of it. But I do this because I want to build a stronger relationship with him. So every day when I'm telling him about things, whether they're good, they're bad, or indifferent, he knows that I feel comfortable enough talking to him. And then if I do have a problem, it's not like I'm just saying, oh God, please help me when I'm in trouble. I'm talking to him all the time. So I'm not just only specifying or trying to pinpoint. The only times that I'm calling on God is when I need something. I'm calling on him because I'm not me without him. I'm calling on him because he is God, regardless of what he does in my life. Regardless if I have the worst day ever, and usually even my worst days, I'm thankful. And so I always try to make sure that I'm intentional about my relationship with God. And so at the end of the night when I'm telling them all the things that happened during the day. And it's just things that stand out in my mind. It's not like at 8:01, it's more like God, today, this, and this happened. I'm praying for this person. I pray that, they grow in their relationship with you. I try not to make it like this person was so nasty or, something like that. I always try to like pray for the person to hope that they grow in their relationship with God and that he gives me the strength to still show the Christ in me so that it's not me being like everybody else. I'm not just reacting to a situation. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about other people's feelings. I'm thinking about other people have their own lives and they're going through their own things. I'm thinking about how I can help and serve other people and be intentional in my life. And so I try to always do that every day. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. But I do try to be intentional with every day, and I try to at least be a better version than I was yesterday. And when I mess up, because we will, because we're human, when I mess up and I do something wrong, I try not to like beat myself up about it or be like feeling super guilty, because that's where the adversary will try to come in and he'll try to manipulate you to go back to the person you used to be. He'll try to manipulate you and say, see, you haven't gotten better. See, you can't do this. See, you don't deserve love, or whatever it is that's your Achilles heel is what the adversary will use to try to promote cynicism or negative criticism within yourself. And so you have to be really mindful of making sure that you combat all of those negative things with something positive so that it negates the negative remark or the negative thought or whatever it is that Satan's trying to put in your mind. And another thing that really helps me is when I say, thank you, God, because even if I'm thinking something negative, even if that thought comes through my mind, when I say thank you, God, it's like it evaporates. It's like, I don't know, it's got to be because of the power of God, because it'll be like, you're not, let's just pretend you're not good enough. I'll be like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And I just keep on saying it. And it's like the more I say it, it's like I don't even remember what that thought was, or the thought was there, but I can't even, like, usually it would just replay in my mind whatever the negative thought was. But in this instance, because I called on God, it's like gone. It's like he just fought that battle for me. And so that's that's one of the things that I do that help me with my day. I try to make sure I have God in the morning and at night. And it's so funny because when I rededicated my life to God, I was like, God, I just, want you to be a part of my life. I want to do whatever it takes to just be the woman that you created me to be. I don't want to be anything more, anything less. I don't want to, I just want to serve. I want to be obedient. I want to be in your presence forever until my last breath. And I had no idea that this was in the Bible, that it was saying, you know, be intentional with your relationship with God in the morning and at night. I just did that because that's what I wanted, because I was focused on what I feel, not what I feel, but what God was telling me. And God was saying, just be intentional with this, just do this. And I was doing all of the things because I wanted to be obedient, and it was in the Bible the whole time. And then I read it one day and I was like, I do that and I didn't even know it was a thing. I just did it. And it's so funny because a, a lot of the times when you are being godlike, I mean, when you're being Christ-like and you're living your life and you're doing the things that you need to do, I'll have some people come up to me and they're like, you must be a Christian. And I don't have to say, you know, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, or no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I just literally am kind to people. And they'll say, you must be a Christian. And I'm like, I never said it. How does this person know that? I didn't even say anything. And I mean, I don't like not tell them, that God helped me if the opportunity presents itself. I just, I don't want to be that person that's just like, God, God, God. And it's so funny because people have like this weird perception, like I'm just going to automatically prejudge them and then say, you're going, or like fire and brimstone and all this other stuff. But I'm not that type of person. I try to accept everybody. And I know God loves all of us. He created all of us. So I don't feel any like animosity towards any person that's messing up in life. Now, people that do really, really cruel, hateful stuff, I try not to think about that. I know it exists. And I'm not that type of Christian that's just going to make somebody feel badly about themselves because I want to be on a high horse when I mess up every day, you know? And so when I meet people sometimes and I say, that I'm Christian or we start talking about God or whatever else, they'll be like, well, what about this in the Bible? Like they'll start trying to like combat me or try to like come up with like some sort of debate about things in the Bible. And it happens every once in a while. I wouldn't say it happens often. It happens like once a month, every other week, something like that. It'll happen. And it's just random people and they'll be like, well, you don't like, and I'm like, you don't even know me. I'm a loving person. I don't even like, I hear people say stuff and they'll prejudge people and they'll feel like they could stand on their soapbox and just make people feel badly about themselves. I don't want to do that. I care about everybody. So I'm not trying to make people feel badly for making a mistake like I make mistakes every day or for, making a decision with their life because I haven't lived their past. I don't know what they've been through. My main goal when I meet people, even if they're not walking the straight and narrow, is just to let them know that God loves them. That's it. Just to let them know, hey, I'm listening to you. I see you. Are you okay? And that's it. I don't have like you are, and this is, and you should do this way. Like, unless I lived it. And even if I lived it and I see a woman in like a toxic relationship or something like that, or being toxic, I still don't say, you need to do this. I literally speak life into those women and I let them know that they do deserve to be happy and that they do deserve, everything that God has for them. And I tell them how beautiful they are or smart or whatever compliment I can think of. I think of those things and I tell that woman because you saying, oh, you need to leave him. Girl, if I was you, I would do. That is not helping anybody at all. I promise you, it never helped me. It's not going to help these women. Like, you saying what you would do in their situation when you haven't lived their life is not helpful at all. Not even a little bit. And I know like it probably feels good for the people that don't have to deal with that toxic relationship, but for the people who don't know that they deserve better or feel like some sort of insecurity or have childhood trauma or whatever else it is, it's not that easy to just be like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. If you were me, even though you didn't deal with this when you were a kid, even though you didn't have to go through that as a kid. And then I'm not saying that those are excuses for you to deal with a toxic relationship. I'm just saying that sometimes those things make it harder to move on because that's what the adversary will use in the back of your mind to get you to stay. And you don't even realize that you're being manipulated. You just feel like it's your choice. And it's really not because you're not even in control of your life anymore. You're miserable. You are going through every day feeling like, what is the point? When life is so much more than that. And that's what I try to reiterate for those type of women and men who are in toxic relationships. I try to let them know that they deserve better than that because God never intended for them to live like that. He didn't. And I truly, truly believe that, especially since he picked me up literally off the ground. I had no idea the things that he had in store for me up until this point. I really had no idea. And I never thought that I'd be sitting here telling other people at all. Like, I didn't know at all. I really couldn't see myself help anybody. I could barely help myself. Sometimes, even now, and I don't want to say I can't help myself now because I do the best that I can, but even now I still make mistakes. Nobody is ever going to be perfect because God is the only one that's perfect. And I think it's important for us to remember that. So some of the things that really made me stay too in the past was if I messed up on something and I'd be like, okay, well, I messed up, so I don't deserve better. Or I did this, like anything that I did in the past. And one thing I want to say to those women and men who are staying in a relationship because you messed up, and I'm not talking about people that are married, so this is not an scapegoat, or people who, there's certain situations for every scenario. So please don't just take this as like a blanket statement and use it and run with it. I'm just saying for people in a regular relationship, That's toxic. And in no extenuating circumstances. I'm not talking to any of those people. Because don't say she told me this and then somebody come out of nowhere and be like, why would you tell her this? I'm not. This is, this is your life. You are the one that has to make these decisions for yourself. You know what's right and what's wrong. You know what you truly deserve. And when you start feeling like you're guilty because you made a mistake or you messed up on something, and because this person is staying with you, you stay with them even though that's not what you really want, and you're both not happy. Don't just stay just because you could be with somebody. Because I know this is gonna sound so cliche, but it's so much better being alone and being peaceful and happy than it is to be in a toxic relationship feeling miserable every day without purpose. It really is. And I know you hear some people say that in relationships, and are nice, comfortable relationships, trying to tell you I can do bad all by myself. If you could do bad all by yourself, what makes you want to leave is what I'm thinking. That's what I used to think when I was in that relationship. Like, if I can do bad by myself and I can do bad with this person, then I'm probably just going to stay with this person. I'm just being real. Can I be real? I don't know. But I really, like, that's how I felt. Like, okay, so I'm going to be, D if I do, D if I don't. So why not do? And so, so I really feel like, and I heard somebody say this, and I like the way they put it. You could do better by yourself. You could do bad with them. So true. Because if God grants you the peace and the joy unspeakable that I feel being single, I promise you it's so much better than just being with somebody who, and the weird thing is, you in this relationship because you don't want to be lonely. And in the relationship, you feel lonely. In the relationship, you feel unheard, unseen, unappreciated. So if you're unappreciated, unheard, and lonely in the relationship, then why not just be by yourself anyways? Because you're not getting any of the things that you want or need anyway. So why put yourself through that? You know, because you really do deserve better. I meet like so many men that are just like, oh, I've been through all these things. I just feel like this is the best that I could get. Some girl that's using them, or this is the best that I can get. Some girl who isn't really that interested in them. And I'm like, you deserve somebody who's going to really appreciate you, who really does want to treat you the right way. And most of these guys are single. It's no guys that are in a relationship that I'm telling them to break up with the person. I'm not going to do that. I would never tell someone to break up with someone anyways. That's their choice. And I'm not the person that's like, oh yes, please break up with that person to be with me because God has plans for me. Okay. I'm not waiting for somebody else's man. I'm waiting for the man that God appointed for me. So I'm not dabbling in that foolishness. And I'm not calling people foolish. I feel like people go through certain things and it gives them a level of comfort having that, knowing that someone wants you that someone else has. But I don't want that type of thing in my life. This is just for me personally because I want what's mine. I don't want what's somebody else's at all. And I hope that women and men get to a point where they feel the same way because it's dangerous out here. You do that and you don't know how crazy the other woman or man is. You don't know like what they're capable of or what kind of things they're going to do. And I know there's some people that are like, well, she got to come through me, or the guy will be like, shh, okay. If he's about that life, if he want this, and I'm just like, but why even put yourself in that situation? You don't even have to go through that. You're going through this, you are hurting yourself, you are draining your energy that could be used for you to be a multimillionaire, a billionaire by now, because you're taking all this energy and putting it into something that's not for you. And I know in this video it's so easy to say, and I'm only saying it because I've been there. I'm not saying it from a place of I don't know what you're going through and I just feel like it's going to be so easy. It's not going to be easy. I know people probably didn't expect me to say that. It's not going to be easy. People might lie and say, "Oh yeah," they'll give you like a one sentence answer, like your life is one sentence, and it's really a whole storybook. It's chapter after chapter of your life, and people try to make it seem like, "Oh yeah, I would just leave him," and then what? So I'm going to call you. You're never going to answer the phone. I'm going to be by myself all the time when this person would be there with me. You're going to think about, okay, I'm going to leave. Then what about the bills? What about the kids? What about whatever it is? People have these one sentence answers for your entire life that don't even suffice. It doesn't come near what you need to be able to move on with your life. To be able to move on, you have to be really intentional with the work that you have to do to heal. You have to be really intentional about, making sure that you're good financially. You have to be intentional about all those things. And while some people who are not in your situation would say, oh yeah, just leave today, you might not be able to leave today. You might not be able to leave for another 3 months. You might not be able to leave for another year because you have to stack up dough. You have to make sure that your kids are a certain age or whatever else it is that is the reason why you're staying. So don't feel like someone else's one sentence answer is the solution to your entire life. That could never equate. And so you have to really take some time and really figure out what it is that you truly want, what really makes you happy. Do small things for yourself. This is what really helped me in the beginning. Before I kind of knew, but I was like, I was the type of person that was like, I'm going to try everything I possibly can to make this work before I leave. Like I knew, but then I was like, I'm going to try everything I can to make this work. I mean, to try to do what I can do so that I don't look back. Because my main thing is like, I'm a real big, like, I'm really hard on myself. And I always like have this like guilty thing that I go through sometimes. And so I knew that if I didn't do everything I possibly could, then I was going to constantly be thinking, why didn't I do this? I should have tried this. I should have did that. I should have did this. And there was probably nothing I could have done to stop it, the inevitable anyways. But it gave me peace of mind knowing that I did everything that I could, even though it didn't work, you know? And so for you, whatever that thing is that you need to know that it's okay to let go is what you're going to need. You're going to have to start speaking life into yourself every single day, every single night. You're going to have to probably take some courses. You're probably going to have to get a life coach, me or someone else. You're probably going to have to go to therapy and face those fears, those things from the past, from childhood, from whatever else it is that keeps replaying in your mind, making you feel like you're not worth it. You're going to have to read the Bible. That's what I did. And it really helped me because it gave me strength that I didn't even know I had inside of me. And it's so funny because God said you're stronger than you think you are. And I believe that for each and every one of us. Sometimes we talk to certain people and they make us feel weak, or we get something wrong, or we do something wrong, and we just start beating ourselves up, and we just start feeling like maybe we don't deserve happiness, or we don't deserve this or that, but you do. You deserve everything that God has for you. And just because you make a mistake, like every single person in this entire world that makes mistakes, does not mean that you don't deserve happiness. It doesn't mean that you don't deserve better. You do. And the only way that you're going to realize it, regardless of what all of these other people say that's got like so much, I mean, they be popping their neck and everything. If I was you in this situation, they'll be so serious too. And they mean well. They really, really do. But they have no idea how you feel on the inside. They have no idea the struggle that you're going through. They have no idea how hurtful it is to hear that. And then they think it's helpful, but really makes you feel weaker. It makes you feel like, well, what's wrong with me that I can't leave? What's wrong with me that I'm staying in this situation? What's wrong with me that this person is with me and, they get to be happy and this is the best that, God or whoever else has for me. That is not God. God would never want you to be miserable like that, or to be feeling unappreciated, or to be in a toxic situation. He wouldn't. The God that I know, my God, he definitely wants you to be happy. He wants you to have joy unspeakable. He wants you to feel like you are treated like Christ loves the church. He does not want you to be treated like the dirt underneath somebody's shoe, or, that fly that you try to get out of the house that you don't want around, but it's always there because you got delicious food or something. I don't know. I don't know why a fly came into my mind, but you get what I'm saying. like you're at a cookout or something and there's this fly or something or whatever else, and it's just like, really? Like, you don't want to be treated like that. You want to be treated like you're valued. And you want to make sure that you get the healing that you need, because when you meet other people, you don't want to treat them the way that you were treated in your relationship, because you're still harboring toxicity, or because you're still harboring pain, or because you still haven't healed to a point where you're ready for somebody else. Do not rush it. It could take a month, a couple months, a year. It's no time limit on how much time it takes for you to be ready. And there will be people in your life who will say, it's been a year. Why don't you meet such and such? Why don't you just go on a bunch of dates? And it sounds good, but if you're not ready, don't do it. Don't do it. Because you know you better than anybody else. And even though you hear other people say things to you, you have to know what's best for you. And you have to follow your intuition, regardless of what anybody else says. Because people always talk a good game, but that does not mean that that is what you should be doing. And so I know I went all over away from the rain thing, but I promise this was about rain. So, in conclusion, we need the rain so that we can grow, so that we can become the thing that God always intended for us to be. We need it so that we can see the rainbow, because without the rain, there is no rainbow. There is no happiness, no joy. And I'm not saying you won't laugh. Laughter comes in many ways of your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from a storm. But a lot of the trials, tribulations, storms, and the rain that I've had in my life has allowed me to be the happiest I've ever been in my life, because it took me to so many different places that I never thought that I was capable of being. I never thought I was strong enough to be in that place. I never thought that I would get to a point where I would actually want to meet anybody. I always thought that I would just be alone. Like, I'd be like Paul, for real. Like, when I got out the last relationship, I really was just like, God, I'm okay being single for the rest of my life. I got a kid. I've been in a long-term relationship. Like, I'm meeting like other goals in my life. There's things that I want to do while I'm single. And I was like, that I want to do. I didn't even ask God, like, hey, what do you want me to do? But I was like, I'm good. I got everything I need. I'm content with my life. I don't need nothing else. Like, if this is the only thing you're going to do for my life is get me out of this relationship and allow me to live the life of my dreams and being in my purpose, helping other people, I'm good right here. Like, this is all, this is all I need. I'm good. I don't need nothing else. And God was like, you're going to be in a relationship. You're going to be in a marriage. And I was like, I think you got the wrong person. Because I don't think, when we were just talking a second ago and I was telling you, how I want to be single for the rest of my life. Like I really want to be single for the rest of my life. Like, you gonna let that happen? Like, you gonna allow me to because I'm stronger when I'm by myself. Apparently I can't be in relationships. That's what I was telling myself. That's what I was telling God. I was like, I'm stronger without other people, because I don't have to worry about trying to impress them with anything that I'm wearing or doing. I don't have to worry about trying to get their approval on something that it is that I want to do for my life. I don't have to worry about, trying to pick a place or something to do that we both enjoy. I can just do the things that I want to do. I know it sounds so selfish, but just picture being in a relationship all your life, and then you finally are free. I mean, you finally are single, and you can do all of the things that you stopped yourself from doing because you wanted the other person to be happy, or because you wanted to compromise on everything. Like, imagine that. Imagine your whole, like, ever since you started dating, you've always been with somebody, and then you finally, I don't know why I always say finally like that, or why I had to say finally. Maybe I should say, and then why I keep wanting to say free. Then you are, I'm going to stop saying that. I don't know why it keeps coming out, but you're single. And so, since you're single, you're just like, oh yeah, I get to do all of it. Like, I did so many things, and this is not to like humble brag or anything. It's just because for people that are like really thinking how bad it could be being single, it's really amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some moments where I want to go to a thing and I'm like, it'd be good to bring a person with me to this thing. And then I'm like, really, I could go by myself. But I do have moments like that. It's not just like oh, I just love being single is the best life ever, and I never ever think about being with anybody ever again. Like, I think about it from time to time. But let me tell you, I took some courses that I didn't know that I was going to enjoy. I did like some training for some stuff that I just did for fun. I did like these weird classes that don't even make any sense, but for me, it was so much fun. Like, I would have never thought of doing any of those things if I was in a relationship, sadly. But being single, I'm just like, I don't have to, like, my Saturday isn't full of me going on a date or doing something with somebody else. It's full of me doing whatever I want, you know? And then, like, as Sundays are for God and family. So I'm with my family, I'm with God on every Sunday. So that's full. And then Wednesdays is Bible study. During the week, I'm working. So, like, and I still do like little stuff here and there. Like, I do my showers. Sometimes I'll do like a soaking or something like that. But I try to do something every day that I enjoy doing that brings me joy. And I'm trying to be more intentional with the reading again, because that's something that really helps clear my mind. It helps me stay like mellow and focused, and things like that. So let me tell you though, the things that God has allowed me to do since I've been single have been so amazing. Like, you don't even understand. Like, this is how crazy it is, because I was like, okay, God, I'm good, and he's like, no, you're going to be married, because it'll this and this. I'm not gonna tell you all the reasons, but I was just like, but I wasn't like, huh. I probably did do a because I was just like, man, I've never felt this incredible in my life. I've never felt so confident, so sure of myself, so secure in my entire life until I was alone. Like, you don't even understand. I don't know. I feel like I can't explain this. Why am I going like this? And then people are like, okay, I'm going to sit back like I'm supposed to. It's fine. But anyways, so I really never felt like this before in my life. I never felt like I was so in love with myself, and not in an egotistical way. And like, I appreciate everything that God has blessed me with. Like, I appreciate, my face, my hair, my nails, my skin, my body, my soul, my heart, everything from the inside out. I appreciate everything that God has allowed me to have, that I have in my life, that I get to like take advantage of in a way. Like, I get to do facials, I get to do different hairstyles, and I don't have to worry about, someone saying, oh, I like your hair straight or curly. I don't have to worry about someone saying, oh, you're gonna wear that outfit, like, what is wrong with my outfit? Like, I understand not everything is gonna be everybody's cup of tea, but this is like I get to do whatever I want, and I love fashion, so I get to do like weird things that I never wanted to try before, but they look pretty cool and I like them a lot. I get to like just go walking random times just to clear my mind, just to be out looking at the beach or whatever else. I get to take random courses and learn like a new skill or something. And I get to do it for fun. So it's not like it's graded or anything, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's something that I never, like, I do some things that I'm afraid of just because I want to see how far I can push myself, because I want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can and taking full advantage of being single in this life, like the life that God is blessing me with right now. Like, when I got out of my toxic relationship, I really felt like that was the end. Like, there was nothing else that was about to happen. Like, I couldn't see anything else in the future. And when I called on God and he lifted me up off of the floor, like, literally, you don't understand. Like, I might cry, but you have no idea how incredible God is. God will make a situation that looks like it's the end, and it could be the beginning. It could be the start of something amazing. God can make you see things in a whole new light that you didn't even know was possible, because God can make anything possible because he's God. Like, you just don't understand how amazing God is. And I know I say it on these videos and people are like, okay, here she goes crying again, talking about how amazing God is. But I would not be here if it wasn't for God. My first Love Yourself business would not have even started if God didn't pick me up off the floor. The book would not be possible. If God wasn't directing my footsteps, telling me to write every single day, telling me not to give up, even when the adversary was throwing all of these things at me, like 72 format changes of the book, staying up till 2, 3 a.m. every single night to finish the book, literally writing page after page, typing up the thing, going through different places to try to find the right editor, and no person was right, dealing with a person giving me like a bad deal on a book deal, and them trying to make me pay like all of this extra money and taking like 90% of the profit or something like that, and then paying additional. I would have to pay additional for like I think it was like podcast or something else, some other things that came like in this thing with the contract, and everything everything that I've been through, I only made it through because of God. Like, I really felt like that was it. There was nothing left in life. Like, I was just gonna do that and then be miserable for the rest of my life, because now, like, what now, And then God just showed me that I was capable of so much more than I gave myself credit for. I was so much stronger than I ever thought that I was. I thought that I was going to spend every day in the bed. Like, I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to get up off the floor. I felt like I was just going to be sad every day and never feel happy again. And then God showed me that, yes, you are. You are going to be happy. You are going to have another opportunity. The life that I always intended for you is the life that you're going to get to live. The life that you dreamed of is the things that you're going to be able to do. You're going to meet people who are so amazing that you didn't even think it was possible. And even when you feel like all hope is gone and there's no good people in the world, you're going to meet somebody who's a decent human being. And I would have just, like, if I would have had someone had told me this in the past and said, oh yeah, you're going to do this at such and such age, and this and this is going to happen, I would have said, yeah, right. I'm going to go to church every Sunday and be in Bible study every Wednesday. I'm going to meet people who are decent human beings. I'm going to be in a video speaking life into people, trying to encourage people. I'm going to be obedient to God and want to build a stronger relationship with him. I'm going to intentionally read the Bible every day. Like, I would have been like, okay, I don't know what this person's doing, but I would have just felt like there's no way that's going to happen. But God is incredible. He is amazing. I mean, he does exceedingly and abundantly above all that you could ever think or imagine. It's so true. So whenever you're going through a hard time or rain or whatever else it is in your life, a trial, tribulation, just know that he is God. And you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. There's nothing that your God can't handle. There's nothing that my God can't handle. There's nothing that he can't do to get me through whatever it is that I'm going through. When I call on his name, he's right there making a way out of no way for me. He is making sure that, I mean, it's so funny because I know this video is going on and on and on, but I just can't stop talking about how grateful I am for having God in my life. Like, you don't even understand. It's just, it does something to your spirit. It does something to your soul. It does something to you. It really can transform your whole life and in ways that you would have never imagined. You just, oof, you can't imagine. So I hope that when you think about going through the storms, when you think about the rain, remember the rainbow that comes after the rain. Remember that everything that is on this earth needs water. Remember that that's the thing that can replenish you. It's the thing that can transform you into something else. It's the thing that can grow you from one season to another. And even though it doesn't look pleasant, maybe it's cold, maybe it's icky, whatever else, when the sun comes out, the flowers look so beautiful. When the sun comes out, the the puddles that you get to like stomp in or whatever else, you get to see the sun, and it makes you feel so much more appreciative for the happiness, for the sun, for all of the good things that are to come because you went through the rain. And you also realize that it changed you in the right way. You didn't even know that you needed it to get rid of jealousy, insecurity, or whatever else it was that you were harboring in your heart. But because you went through that storm, it helped break some of those things off. Just like the boat that was shipwrecked in the Bible. Slowly, slowly breaking off piece by piece until it was gone. That's what I think God does on the inside of us when He takes us through these trials and tribulations. He allows those things to break off of us so that they don't have a hold of us anymore. So that we could just be what we are. So that we can go to the places that we need to be instead of holding on to the things from the past, instead of trying to be that past person. It's funny because I as I'm growing and healing and stepping into my purpose and things like that, sometimes I'll get into a situation and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do this. And I'm like, I can't do that. That's what I used to do. That's not the way you handle this situation. And so now I have to learn all new ways to do things in my life. I have to learn new ways of communication, which I've been doing a lot better in. I have to learn new ways of asking for what I want without it seeming demanding. I have to learn grace. Like I met one person who I said something that they didn't like. And instead of them saying like, oh, you need to do this, they handled it with so much class. Like if I could handle a situation like that, I'd be good to go. Like I'd be good. You don't even understand. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much respect for that person because of the way they handled it themselves. Because instead of them being like nasty or cruel, they handled it with so much grace and class. It was like, wow. Like I was awestricken. And I don't get awestricken a lot. Awestricken a lot. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Why'd I have to say it like 3 or 4 times though? But anyways, allow the rain to mold you and to make you into the thing that God intended you to be. Don't run away from it. Face it head on. And when you need God, call on Him.